Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of Pittsburgh City Council for Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. All council meetings are live streamed on the city's website. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Killsmith. Reverend Burgess.
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you very much. As we join from our remote locations and here in chambers, please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. The agenda is amended. That takes us next to proclamations. We have 2 to be presented. First, Mr. Lavelle, we have very special guests in the chambers. If you would make your presentation.
If the gentleman with Alpha Phi Alpha would please come forward at this time. Come all the way up front. As they come forward, I will simply say, as someone who has had numerous family members a part of your organization, for your fraternity, as well as numerous friends, I can certainly attest to the significance of the fraternity and what you've done not only for the black community, but our city and our country at large. Whereas Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, the first intercollegiate Greek letter fraternity established on December 4th, 1906, had since supplied voice and vision to the struggle of people of color around the world. And whereas chartered on April 5th, 1928, in the home of Brother Royal Taylor, the Alpha Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha has long stood at the forefront of the African-American community's fight for civil rights and economic empowerment, exemplified by such distinguished brothers as the late Harvey Adams, Bert Brown, Homer S. Brown, Mal Good, Reverend Leroy Patrick, Robert L. Vann, and attorney and Tuskegee Airman Wendell Freeman. Whereas Alpha Omicron Lambda will be hosting a Community Service Awards Gala on October 1st, 2022 to recognize individuals from the Pittsburgh community that dutifully represent the values of the fraternity. And whereas nominees will be recognized in 4 award categories, which include Manly Deeds, Scholarship, Love for All Mankind, and the Annie Singleton Award. And whereas for the category of Manly Deeds, which cover those who have lived a principled life and have used their talents and gifts to serve all of mankind, Mayor Ed Gainey and Richard Bynum of the PNC Foundation will be recognized. And whereas for the category of scholarship, which highlights individuals that positively impact the lives of student scholars, Vice Provost Kenyon Bonner and the Pittsburgh Public Schools Director of Food Services, Curtis Steen Walker, will be recognized. And whereas for the category of Love for All Mankind, which honors those who provide for the needs of the disenfranchised and oppressed, ARCO President Laura Washington, the Sharing and Caring Food Ministry, the Ivy Charitable Endowment of Pittsburgh from the Alpha Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, and the SVP of Highmark Health Community Affairs, Kenya Boswell, will be recognized. And whereas for the Annie Singleton Award, which honors women who promote and encourage the spirit of fraternity and sorority ideals, Dr. Dwandra Jones and Dr. Margaret Larkins Penegrew and Dr. Tiffany Hatcher and Kathy Mae Towns will be recognized. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare October 1st, 2022 to be Alpha Phi Alpha Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
Need a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. It is approved.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mark Johnson. I'm the chapter president for Alpha Omicron Lambda, the local Alpha Phi Alpha chapter. And I send greetings from the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha to our distinguished host here today. Alpha Phi Alpha is an organization that's been around since 1906, and we pride ourselves on the work that we do in the community, and we would like to continue to do so with building collaborations and, doing service in our underprivileged communities. And one of our famous members, Dr. Martin Luther King, had a quote. I just lost it. But basically what he talked about was when science becomes more important than spirituality, we have guided missiles, but we are raising misguided men. So one of the things that we want to do is mentorship and continue service in the community. And again, like I said, we are very honored for this proclamation, and we hope to continue this service in the community of Pittsburgh. And we thank you.
I didn't even I didn't even see you, it was running late, so good to see you. Okay. You ever gonna get back in person again?
Well, yes. We'll figure something out after the meeting.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Good
good
deal.
seeing you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Take
Ms.
care.
Strasburger.
Everyone from Clean Water Action could join me. While they're walking, I wanted to say how pleased and honored I am to be giving this proclamation to Clean Water Action and to have Steve Hostovich here with some of his colleagues. Steve and I have a history of working in the trenches together in environmental advocacy. I have memories of traveling to Harrisburg and carpooling to Harrisburg for lobby visits to pass statewide legislation and holding rallies together and planning and speaking at advocacy panels and just doing all the work. And so I really give everyone at Clean Water Action so much credit for tenacity, patience, and hard work, really hard work that goes into succeeding and passing landmark environmental legislation at the local, state, and federal levels. So with that, whereas Clean Water Action is a nationwide advocacy group dedicated to protecting our environmental health, economic well-being, and community quality of life. And whereas David Zwick, Clean Water's founder, played a major role in writing and passing the 1972 Clean Water Act, a landmark piece of legislation which created dramatic improvements in the health and safety of waterways across America. And whereas Clean Water Action organizes strong grassroots groups, coalitions, and campaigns to solve environmental issues and elect official candidates who stand for environmental protection. And whereas the Pittsburgh Office of Clean Water Action has been a forceful voice on issues of concern and influential contributor to environmental improvement throughout the region since its opening in 1985. And whereas Clean Water Action has helped to advance numerous health and safety measures in Pittsburgh, including this year's ban on single-use plastic bags at checkout, which will help keep harmful microplastics out of drinking water. And whereas Clean Water Action spurs legislative and private action to remove toxins from everyday products, protect our water from dirty energy and pollution, build a clean water and clean energy future, and strengthen our clean water laws, among many other achievements. And whereas the 50th anniversary of Clean Water Action's founding represents an opportunity to celebrate the progress of the past half-century while also refocusing on the necessary work that will be ahead to achieve Clean Water Action's goal of swimmable, fishable, and drinkable water for all. And whereas ensuring that all residents have access to clean water, a healthy environment, and a sustainable world is a shared priority for City Council, Clean Water Action, and the residents of Pittsburgh. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pittsburgh City Council congratulates Clean Water Action on 50 years of service to our planet and all its inhabitants. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare September 28, 2022 to be Clean Water Action Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. It is approved.
Thank you, Councilmember Strasburger. Thank you, other members of council, for this wonderful honor, recognizing our longevity in fighting for an improved environment for all of us and future generations. 50 years all of a sudden doesn't seem quite so long when I hear the longevity of Alpha Phi Alpha's work here in the community, but I offer my congratulations to them as well today on receiving their proclamation. Longevity does not happen alone. To be working for 50 years means there are plenty of other people that have come along the way to help you. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all of our community partners over the years, both residents and other wonderful organizations across Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, and our Commonwealth, not just environmental, but social justice, labor, faith-based organizations. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank our elected official partners over the years. We can't have success in improving our water quality, our air quality, tackling climate change without elected officials who are interested in learning about the issues and willing to be partners in taking action to improve that. So I thank all of you and all of your predecessors as well for helping build us success over 50 years. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all the predecessors who have worked at Clean Water Action and my current staff as well, including my wonderful community engagement scholars who are here with me today from Duquesne University, Emily and John, helping to make sure there's a planet for them to live on going forward. And I wish some of my other staff could be with us here today, but the catch-22 to 50 years of longevity is that it means there's still a lot of work to be done if you're still around for 50 years plus. And so I just want to again thank council again for this wonderful honor, and Councilwoman Strasburger for sponsoring it. And I look forward to working with all of you going forward to continue improving the environment. Thank you so much.
The next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before council. The whole purpose of public comment is to talk specifically on the agenda on issues of the city, not current events of the day or the neighborhood. Profanity will not be permitted. May we have the first speaker, please? Pardon me? I'm sorry, I have a registered speaker. I'm sorry, Dr. Miller. Our registered speaker is Dr. Lynn Miller, our first speaker.
It's Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Oakland and Belsuva, Abuja, Nigeria. Anybody here know any Yoruba, Mr. Burgess, do you?
No.
I didn't think so. Malo, Tiwa Savage, very stark contrast to anything that is being produced by Cardi B and that thing called WAP. I'm a Global Intelligence Society U.S. National Candidate for President 2024, globalintelligencesociety.org. I'm the founder of the Global Intelligence and Information Network, the National Intelligence Information Network, and the Pittsburgh Intelligence Information Network 2020 to 2022. I'm the founder of the Center for Global Studies International Interdisciplinary. It was one of the very first centers in the United States of America, PA Corporation, 2831602 in 1999. A concern of Pittsburgh City Council is local governance. I think that the governance core of U.S. Republican democracy, USRD, is the local legislature. That would be this. One, the legislature is primary over the executive and judiciary in the U.S. Constitution, Article 1. We, the people of the United States of America, is embedded in the U.S. Congress and especially the House of Representatives. Two, the local legislature is primary over the mayor, whose actions require legislative acts, in this case, in this situation, ordinances. We, the people of Pittsburgh, are embedded in the Pittsburgh City Council. The institution of council, to me, is of ultimate governance value. The institution. But individual councilor actions, for me, over 10 years of experience with counselors, is closer to zero. Number three, the governance power, the control of individual or institutional action via coercion or choice should be devolved away from national Washington and the state Harrisburg to local governments like Pittsburgh. Neighborhood empowerment is one means of legal constitutional power devolvement. Fairywood is a Pittsburgh neighborhood, but Cale Smith has never mentioned Fairywood. Why not? We mentioned Oakland. Why do people live in Fairywood? Yes, they do. We need to pay attention to neighborhoods all across the city of Pittsburgh. And four, local legislative citizen compliment and criticism via public comment in council meetings is one of the two primary free speech organs ensuring the life of our Republican democracy. The other is the vote, and both are connected to the United States Amendment 1. The local public comment allows a citizen to directly participate in governance in person, which all of us, all citizens, should come to do.
Our next speaker is Andrea Williams. Are you here, Ms. Williams? Ms. Williams, are you here either online, remotely, or I don't see you in the chambers. If not, is there any other speakers?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stanford Lyons. I'm a member of the Homewood community. I'm originally from Philadelphia, went to the University of Pittsburgh from like 91 to 96, and life chose Pittsburgh as my home, raised my kids here, and everything such as that. But been a member of the Homewood community for over 12 years at this particular point. So just want to sort of, since I'm here, we're in the chamber, I'm the vice president of Alpha Phi Alpha. I had a story I wanted to share with y'all. On Homewood Avenue, you got cool things going on. University of Pittsburgh has a satellite little campus right there. You have CCAC. I was walking down the street, and a young lady who looked like she needed help. I said, what's wrong? I asked her, what's going on? What's wrong with you? She said that she was talking, she's having issues with her rent. Her landlord was willing to work with her, okay? And I told her, like, wait a minute, there's a program, the housing stabilization I was just watching YouTube, and I saw all y'all on TV, and I think y'all even added more money to this program or whatever the case may be. And she was like, Stanford, that's my name. And she basically just told me her whole story and what she was going through, and that her landlord was working with her, but she don't know if she's going to be able to get any help in time. And I really couldn't understand it. But that being said, you know, did my own little research. I don't know if you all know, I mean, you have to dial the Allegheny Links number. It could take you over 2 hours just to get somebody on the telephone, all right? Then, once you get somebody on the telephone, they're gonna take your information, so you're probably feeling strong, like, oh, I might be getting some help, right? But they're gonna also tell you that you may not get a call back for 3 months. Oh, by the way, you need to call back every 30 days to let them know you still need help. I mean, I'm sitting here watching you all do your job, and I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, there's money, there's help, but we're not getting the help to the people. So since we was here, and I got like 56 seconds, I just thought it was my duty as a citizen who don't necessarily need that help at this particular time, but it's also my job to care about my neighbor and care about the people in my community. And, you know, that's kind of our charter, Alpha Phi Alpha. You know, I'm getting better at it. I would say probably in the last 3 years, you know, helping the community has been become something that's like addictive because it matters. So all I can say is I'm gonna leave you with this. Even in our community, anybody who's watching, we gotta find a way to bring the temperature down. We gotta find a way to everybody communicate so that we can actually get real things done. And then in our community in Homewood, then we can hold, you know, we can come to City Hall, then you all can take us seriously. But that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live in the Hill District up at Kaylee where Irvis Tires. First, I heard on the radio, 90.5, that you, the city, have given so much more money for the police because your DUIs are going down. The first thing I think you should think about, they may be going down because a lot of people are using Uber, but also I walk my grandkids up to school, up on Bedford. As I'm sending them across the street, I said, go ahead. The car come flying down. I started hauling. I used to be a school guard. 15 miles. And when I take the kids up to the school, there was a official up there, and she was hollering, Miss Brown, I've been calling 311 every day. There's flying through this area. So when you get this money, you should have police up there on Bedford, because if you give one ticket, the other parents will realize that they can't come through our neighborhood. See, you don't care about our neighborhood, and I know it. I come down, and I know sometimes I am upset because yins are making all this money. Half of yins don't come to the meetings. Sir, if you become a council member, remember this. They don't come to the meetings like they should. And I had Mr. Cahill tell me, well, you should see in the evening, forget the evening, you're supposed to be here at city council. And I mean it. I have been coming down here 20-something years, sir. And it got it so that they want to tell us we can't come down here, we can't insult them, we can't talk about racism, we can't talk about colorism, which they promote here. I am very, very sad that when I ran into a man yesterday, he come to deliver up in Kaylee Irvis. I think it was Monday, but he was so upset. He said, I almost got killed twice. He says, you know they didn't close Bedford. He said, but the way they have it, he said, this don't make no sense. He said, in Forbes, you go up there, you got to go all the way almost, make a U-turn up in Oakland to get right to the next street. So you know what, you need to have people that are driving, when you get ready to do some of these, what you're doing, have people that drive, volunteer their time. They'll come down and tell you how you should detour, because you don't know, you don't come in our neighborhoods. But you got it so we can't even get from one street to the next. When we had Shop and Save, the lady on Bedford could get down to the Shop and Save with her special needs. But to get back home, she had to pay $5 to get a jitney or either go through town and take the bus. She caught me, and I came here. She said, go up there and tell me, Vaughn, it don't make no sense. Do you understand? You think you know. I keep telling you, you don't know what you don't know. And if we can't come and tell you, you kind of shut me off, but I'm still going to come. Somebody got to tell you, listen to us. Did you hear him say, we the people, not we the council?
Next speaker, please.
There should be a law passed that arthritis can't be affected by the weather. Hi, I'm Bernadette from Beachview, and before I say what I was going to say, I'm an old hippie from 1984 working for Clean Water Action. That's where I learned how to give them hell. Anyway, this subject affects our policemen. My daughter brought to my attention, the kids at Brashear are missing breakfast. She has 10 tardies already. There's one single entrance, and the kids are going through, and they have people haphazardly checking bags, because after a meeting I had last night at Starbucks with other students, even from Alderdice, they're not really checking the bags. It's like a kid going through grandma's junk drawer. That's how they're checking the bags. I did not know this. I am certain that the city and the county can get together, even if they got old x-ray machines like we have to put them through downstairs. There's over 1,000 students in Brashear crowd in through one door like a bunch of cattle. And when something happens, who do they call? They call our police officers. And the kids I spoke to last night said they go right into the bathroom and they're vaping and doing whatever. That means weapons are going through that entrance. She's late every single day. All that food gets thrown away for breakfast because they can't make it to breakfast. We need to help our school district. Please. Hopefully my daughter's not too scared. She'll tell you herself of what they're not being truly checked. Every day since school started, last year during COVID, they had 2 entrances. This is like Amelia Earhart checking your bags at an airport. How many years ago? No excuse for this whatsoever. We should be able to get together and get our schools 2 of the x-ray machines like we have downstairs. Anthony and Teresa, thank you. One by one, they're getting rid of the signage garbage. I almost got killed between that little section on Fallowfield between the bridge and Sebring. They need a speed bump. I don't know why people think that's like a drag race little section there. I was forced off of a sidewalk, came between 2 cars. I shouldn't expect a car going 50 miles an hour down there. Just one simple speed bump, please, before there's more kids that have just moved into that small little block. But I noticed that the sidewalks are being cleared. Dead Man's Curve, Teresa and Anthony, that's both your area. We need a light, please, at the top of Bowstead.
Thank you very much. Any other speaker? Is there any further speaker?
Hi, I am Anna. I go to Brashear High School. I'm a senior. This year, I go to school every day, just like usual. I had hoped that I wouldn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. every day to get to school on time. So I started waking up at 5:45, I leave the house at about 6:30. It takes me about a half an hour to get to school. I get there at around 7, between 7 and 7:10 sometimes. And by the time I get into school, it's usually past 7:30, okay? The bell for homeroom rings at 7:15 and then it ends at 7:30. I have not been able to go to homeroom at all this year. By the time I get there, it is completely crowded. They're going through 3 doors. People that are checking bags, it takes them so long. And what was I going to say? And it takes them so long, and by the time I get inside it and I see people vaping, I see them doing all these things, and these people, when they're checking our bags, they're more concerned about finding perfume with alcohol in it than they are looking for vapes that are hidden in kids' binders. This is basically just wasting our time. There are so many better ways that they can check our bags and get us in efficiently, even if that means opening up the second entrance, because I don't think the new principals know how to properly get security in, because it shouldn't take me more than 15 minutes to get in school. It's illogical. Thank you. That's all.
We want to thank you for coming, young person. From Brashear, my daughter-in-law taught there. May have her. She was Miss Lee, and then Mrs. Burgess. Do you know? She was there.
I think I've heard those names, but I haven't.
She was there. So we thank you for coming and participating in doing your civic duty. Madam President? Madam President? You want All right, there being no further speakers, the next order of business is presentation of papers. Why is my paper sticky? First of all, Council President Smith, for me, who's the chair of Urban Recreation.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Councilman Coghill, chair of Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Coghill presents Bill Number 764, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to apply for grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Keystone Communities Grant Program to provide funding for the construction of a community space and playground in Homewood Park. The grant proposal includes a request of $262,180.50 with a local match of $262,180.50 to come from a City of Pittsburgh's capital budget. In the event the grant is awarded, this resolution provides for an agreement not to exceed $524,361 for this stated purpose. Bill number 765, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to apply for grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Community Economic Development Keystone Communities Grant Program to provide funding for the rehabilitation of the McKinley Park Community Center. The grant proposal includes a request of $500,000 with a local match of $660,000 to come from a City of Pittsburgh's 2022 and 2023 capital budget. In the event the grant is awarded, the resolution provides for an agreement not to exceed $1,160,000. Bill number 766, resolution providing for a reimbursement agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the preliminary design phase of the California Avenue Bridge project, providing for the payment of the costs thereof, not to exceed $800,000. This resolution serves to authorize only the reimbursement agreement or agreements at a no cost to the City of Pittsburgh. Future resolutions will authorize the project-specific service agreements. And Bill number 767, resolution providing for an amended reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the construction phase of the Allegheny Circle Phase 2 project and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $2,126,495 and the municipal share of Commonwealth incurred costs not to exceed $4,000, a decrease of $4,000 from the previously executed City of Pittsburgh Contract 52331 as authorized by Resolution 374 of 2020.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Kraus.
Would you be willing to waive the rules on 765? It is to receive grant money for rehabilitation of the McKinley Park Community Center. And since it's just
Absolutely.
receiving grant money, could we
Yeah,
waive the
motion
rules?
to waive the rules on 765, was that, Councilman?
Yes, please.
So it can be on this afternoon's agenda.
Your second.
I'll second, please.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That takes us to Councilwoman Deborah Gross, who is the Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 686, resolution providing for the execution of a cooperation agreement or agreements with the URA of Pittsburgh for the performance of certain work in connection with the 2022-2023 Community Development Block Grant Program and providing for the payment of the cost not to exceed $6,500. And Bill 768, resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a cooperation agreement with the URA in order to receive a grant from the Pennsylvania Budget Office Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program for the renovation of Warrington Recreation Center in the amount of $1,500,000 and authorizing expenditures for this purpose.
Thank you very much.
I apologize.
Mr. Kraus.
I'm on a roll this morning. It looks like we're receiving grant funds for the rehabilitation of Warrington Rec Community Center as well, too. If we could, Councilwoman, if you'd indulge me to waive the rules on 768 so that we may have that on this afternoon's standing committee.
It's an RCAP.
It is receive grant funding from Pennsylvania budget. Yes.
It is. Yes. Motion to waive the rules so that bill may 768 may appear on today's standing committee agenda.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you very
Opposers,
much.
nay.
Appreciate it.
That brings us to the casual yet still dapper Councilman Kraus, the Chair of Public Safety Services.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 769, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Auto Theft Prevention Authority for the purpose of receiving and spending grant funds in the amount of $566,384. Bill number 778, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership for services rendered by Clean Team Ambassadors within the Southside Parking Enhancement District at a total cost not to exceed $375,000. And Bill number 782, resolution amending resolution number 130 of 2018, effective January 1, 2018, by updating the continued designation of an Oakland Business Improvement District.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kraus. Is there a motion to waive Rule 8 on Bill 778?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. This is the renewal of our Parking Enhancement District Clean Team contract with the Downtown Partnership. And so, yes, I would like to make a motion to waive the rules so that we may also consider this on this afternoon's standing committee agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. It'll appear on this afternoon's agenda. Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
President.
Thank you.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 771, resolution further amending resolution number 886 of 2021, effective December 27, 2021, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2022 Capital Budget and the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2022 through 2027 Capital Improvement Program by increasing California Avenue Bridge by $800,000.
Thank you very much. That takes us to Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Human Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Councilperson Erica Strasburger presents Bill number 772, resolution providing that the City of Pittsburgh enter into a professional services agreement and/or contract with Industrial Organizational Solutions, Inc. for professional consulting services in connection with police lieutenant and police sergeant position job analyses, the development, administration, and scoring of written examinations and development, assessor selection, administration, and scoring of the oral board examinations, and providing for a payment not to exceed $276,000.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management.
Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Councilperson Strasburger presents Bill number 770, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into a software maintenance agreement or agreements with LEDs Online for stolen property tracking software, related maintenance, user support services, and subscription-based licenses to be utilized by the city's Bureau of Police at an overall cost not to exceed $378,839.
Thank you very much. That takes us to Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you. That takes us to Councilwoman Kel Smith. On behalf of her, there are these chair hearings. There are 5 appointments.
Council President Kel Smith presents Bill number 773, resolution appointing Alan Cisco to serve as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board for a term to expire April 30th, 2026. Bill number 774, resolution appointing Astor Tekle to serve as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board for a term to expire April 30th, 2026. Bill number 775, resolution appointing Councilwoman Deb Gross to serve as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board for a term to expire April 30th, 2026. Bill number 776, resolution appointing Deidre Washington to serve as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board for a term to expire April 30th, 2026. And Bill number 777, resolution appointing Morgan Overton to serve as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board for a term to expire April 30th, 2026.
Motion to approve with very brief discussion.
Second.
Mr. Cross.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I certainly am happy to proceed with the appointments, but want to leave the door open for members if they wish to interview for any reason.
Is there a second?
I think we want to hold. Did you say for interview?
I only approved so that we could have discussion. If that's what members' pleasure is, I'm happy to.
Well, I just had a little sidebar. I think we want to hold for interview.
All
please.
of them?
Except for Councilwoman Gross.
All right, so I don't have the bills in front of me.
So
first,
bills.
let's take them one at a time, please. The motion for, there's a motion to approve on the table. If you would withdraw that motion to approve, instead, what's the bill, Kim?
Yeah, there are, Mr. Chair, if I may, there are bills 773, 774, 775, 776, 777, all appointments to the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board. So I'll be happy to withdraw my motion to approve and motion to hold for interview.
So we want to do one of the, did you exclude counsel? So let's do her first. We don't want to hold hers for interview, okay? So let's do hers first. So
Motion to approve.
Is there a motion to approve, which bill is it?
775.
I need a motion to approve 775.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. All right, Mr. Cross has made a motion. If he would exclude that one bill, that motion is in order.
Yep.
All right, is there a second to that?
Second.
All those in favor signify that motion's to hold for interview. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. It is held for interview. Thank you very much. We move now to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business before council? Seeing none, the next order of business is reports of committee for final action. Councilman R. Daniel Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 759, Report of the Committee on Finance and Law for September 21st, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 711, Resolution amending Resolution 862 of 2021, which authorized the mayor and the city solicitor on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into a professional services agreement with Cohen Law Group to address a matter of pending telecommunications litigation by increasing the total spend by $85,000 for a new not-to-exceed amount of $146,050. Bill number 712, Resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Mary DeCourt Rhodes and her attorneys in the amount of $125,000 in full and final settlement of litigation filed at Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on this bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross. Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Hill-Smith, President. Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is finally passed. Councilman Bruce Kraus, Committee on Public Safety Services.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Or Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 760, reported to Committee on Public Safety Services for September 21st, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 726, resolution amending Resolution number 91 of 2021, authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into an amended 5-year professional services agreement with Roll Call Technologies, LLC, for a web-based secondary employment scheduling system in the amount of $853,925. The parties seek to further amend the current agreement in order to add scheduling services for the city's Bureau of Emergency Medical Services at no added cost to the city. No other substantive changes to the terms of the agreement are required.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Hill-Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Strasburg, or Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received a legally required number of votes, is finally passed. That takes us to Councilman Anthony Coghill, Committee on Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 761, reported to Committee on Public Works for September 21st, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 734, resolution approving the recommendation made by the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure that the concrete portion of Silver Oak Drive in the Banksville neighborhood of Pittsburgh be paved with asphalt in accordance with Section 41706 of the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances. Bill number 743, resolution authorizing an interdepartmental transfer in the amount of $2 million from the Bureau of Facilities within the Department of Public Works to the Office of Management and Budget. This transfer is necessary to cover increased fuel costs and unanticipated fleet maintenance expenses.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Mrs. Gross. Aye. Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Hill-Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received a legally required number of votes, is finally passed. That takes us to Councilwoman Erica Strasburger, Committee on Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management. Thank you.
Councilperson Erica Strasburger presents Committee on Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management. Bill number 762, reported to Committee on Innovation and Performance of Asset Management for September 21st, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 752, resolution amending Resolution 280 of 2020, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an agreement or agreements or adoption of existing government contracts with E-Plus Technology, Inc. for commodities and professional services for system critical adjustments, improvements, and upgrades to maintain the city of Pittsburgh's network functionality by increasing the funding.
You've heard the title and reading of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Ms. Kill-Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is finally passed. That brings us to Councilwoman Deborah Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs.
Mr. Pro Tem, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Deb Gross presents Bill number 763, reported to Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs for September 21st, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 691, resolution authorizing the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh to acquire all the city's right, title, and interests, if any, in and to the following publicly owned properties in the 15th Ward of the City of Pittsburgh, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County as Block 56K, Lots 65A and 67, 35 and 39 West Elizabeth Street, Council District Number 5.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Kill-Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is finally passed. That brings us to motions and resolutions. Is there anything by members? Any comments members want to? Of course, Mr. Kraus.
I want to welcome our temporary sergeant at arms here today. We have a very long history with this gentleman in the bureau, and I just want to recognize that he's here providing services today as our
Just welcome and thanks for all you do. You know, I'm a big supporter of what you do. I take a lot of pride, and I know you do in your own work, so keep doing a good job. Thanks.
Well, now I have to say something. I have to thank all of our Sergeant at Arms that take care of us every single day for all the work, and thank you for being here as well. Thank you.
Anything else from members? If you indulge me for just a minute, I think it's important to be grateful for each and every day. My wife and I went to Kennywood Park about a week ago. We hadn't been in many years, and it was her job's picnic, and so I have mixed emotions at Kennywood Park. I loved it as a kid. Unfortunately, my kids were in an accident there, and so it still has some bitter memories. And then I also am old enough to remember swimming in the swimming pool that they closed because they had to integrate it. And I remember them closing the pool because they did not want it integrated. And I'm old enough to have swum in that pool and remember that. So I have this mixed emotion to Kennywood Park, but we went, and you know, her and I grew up together, so we had spent picnics and school picnics and, you know, family gatherings there, and we walked around and, you know, walked and sat, you know, first got funnel cake and sat, and then looked over at the Kiddies Park where our kids played, and the potato patch, okay, and stopped, and then walked over to Lost Kennywood where the pool used to be, and sat and looked, and then rode one ride, the train, walked around to the Rock and Roll Express. That was the ride my daughter loved the most. And so we stood there actually and just looked at the kids for many times going around that ride. We just sat there. We stood there, really watched them and remembered and reflected on my daughter being young and the kids being young and how much my daughter loved that ride. And then, of course, you know, on the way out, had to buy fudge and candy apples, right? And then went home. And then the next week, I read, I think, Sunday morning before church, that same space that we had stood at, there was a shooting and a few people had gotten shot that next week at the exact same place we were standing. Now, certainly we pray for the family, and that's really not the point of my sharing. My sharing is life is very brief, and you need to be thankful. I'm very thankful that that it was not me that day, right? It could have been me just a week earlier. I was in the same place, the same spot. But God often takes care of us, and I'm just saying be grateful and thankful for each and every day. And I'm trying my best to live a humble, grateful life each and every day. Meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1:30 p.m., Council will hold their standing committees meeting. Speaker registration will close at 12:30 p.m. this afternoon. Tomorrow, Thursday, September 29th at 10 a.m., Council will hold an executive session on litigation matters. Next week, Council will hold both their regular and standing committees meetings on Tuesday, October 4th, 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. respectively. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. October 4th for the regular meeting and at 12:30 p.m. October 4th for the standing committees meeting. To register to speak, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage by the deadlines. You may also call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Is there any other things before council, Madam President?
Just briefly, as we were thanking people, for stepping in for today, I want to thank Ashley because she has really stepped in as the acting deputy director, and she's just doing a really great job. So I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. And our solicitor and our budget director, our clerk, and all of our staff, right?
Yeah.
And thank you for this opportunity to serve, Madam President. Is there a motion there is no absent member, so is there a motion to approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. We are adjourned.